Welcome back to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates with Nolan Baker and Scott Kirshner, arhq.com. That's the website, arhq.com. The phone number, 419-794-3030. You know, income is a major factor when it comes into your retirement, and accumulation when you're in the working world, saving up that money for that income is a large part of the battle. But do you actually have an income plan as part of your retirement picture? Financial advisor Angela Sloan tells TD Ameritrade, don't confuse that with the stock market.
It's very important that you have your income plan in place. And there's things that you can do to get that income plan in place to where you're not depending on the market. The market is where you go for growth. It's not necessarily the greatest income plan in the world because you never know what it's going to give you. And let's face it, no matter what happens, you're going to have to eat and pay your bills.
It's a major difference between accumulation and distribution. I know that you guys help clients create that written retirement income plan. Let's talk about how that works.
Well, you know, when you look at how to create a written retirement income plan, I think there's a lot of things that people need to take. First and foremost, I'm not talking about a traditional financial plan. Mm-hmm. You know, some people will log into their 401k. It'll give projections whether their retirement is on track or not. Some people maybe have a phone book thick financial plan that somebody printed out, cranked all these reams of paper, and gave them all this analytical data. What I'm talking about here is a written retirement income plan. But first, let's talk a little bit about what Angela said. So, you know, Angela said that the market isn't an income plan, but you know, when I look at our philosophy as far as the independent income system, the market is part of the overall plan for a majority of the clients that we meet with. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we do is we take a look at the portfolio, and within the stock market, although it does offer more growth potential than other categories, it's also still important to not ignore how much yield you're getting in your stock market account. You see, one of the things that we do when clients come into our office is we run an independent portfolio analysis. And oftentimes what we'll do is we'll put their information into our software and we'll find out what the yield is on their current investment accounts. And when you subtract the fees and expenses that they're paying for the management, they end up starting out January in the red, meaning that their yield minus fees and expenses, they're actually negative. Meaning that they're relying on solely growth to make up for the offset of their portfolio. And, you know, the one thing that we know about growth of the market is nobody controls growth of the market. Mm-hmm. You know, the market is the one uncontrollable item. There's other uncontrollable items, but it is uncontrollable in the stock market. A controllable item within the stock market is how much yield you get. And that's through investment selection process. If you're an investor and you're wondering, are you starting off the year negative and what your yield is, then have an independent portfolio analysis done. In fact, we love running independent portfolio analysis for clients. For the next 5 people who call us, we'd be happy to run the independent portfolio analysis and show you, are you starting the year off in the red? Because it's our belief that you really, net of all fees and expenses, want to be started off the year in the positive, not just hoping that the market works out. Now, if you take that a step further, you can break this down even more. So a written retirement income plan, we have a booklet that talks about your retirement income planning checklist. When you go through the retirement planning checklist, we're going to look at things like your Social Security income. Now, Scott, as you know, the decisions that somebody makes, either the earliest or the latest, can make a big impact on how much lifetime income they get from Social Security.
Oh, there's no question. You know, there's some people out there that say, you know what, I don't need that income from Social Security, so I take it at 62. We rarely advise that because you're penalizing yourself for the rest of your life when you take it at 62. You know, so you want to have a Social Security analysis run to determine what's going to be the best fit for you. You know, once again, this is a piece of the income pie. It's not the whole pie. Just like your stock investment's not the whole pie, the Social Security income's not the whole pie. You know, you also are going to have your pension income. If those people out there that actually have pensions, those have kind of gone by the wayside, but if you do have a pension available, you have that pension income that is also a piece of that investment pie.
Yeah, I mean, then the third category is you have annuity income, which
Sure.
is more reliable income. But annuity income is another area that a lot of people are confused on how it works. I think there's some great annuities out there, and there's some really expensive bad annuities out there. So knowing what those are. Next, you want to look at some of the factors. And when you're looking at the factors, you want to look at longevity. You want to look at the market volatility, something that's called the sequence of return risk. So for those people who are savers, if you're younger in life, the sequence of returns isn't going to necessarily have a big impact, but it can have a huge impact on somebody who's close to or in retirement time taking withdrawals. It can reduce your income over time if you're accelerating the losses and selling off more of your investments, locking in those losses. And the topic has become more hot lately with inflation. And with inflation, want to look at food and energy costs, but also you want to look at like healthcare costs.
Absolutely. You want to make sure that you budget or put in, your line item. How much am I going to pay for my healthcare cost? Now, I'm not just talking your monthly premiums, depending on what plan you choose, but I'm also talking about those items that are unexpected. A lot of people choose to not purchase dental insurance. And it's amazing if you knew the numbers on how much dental care costs. You have a root canal, a crown, implant. You're looking at $3,000-$4,000 per tooth. That's a huge expense. That's not a monthly ongoing expense. So you want to make sure that you are looking at all of the healthcare costs, not just the premiums.
Yeah, so as we go through, creating your written retirement income plan and go through the checklist, we're going to look at things like your reliable income sources, and we're going to look at your expenses, and we're going to create, what your ideal income is and what your minimum monthly income needs are. We're also then going to look for ways to possibly lower your expenses, reviewing things like your health insurance, maybe, things like should you pay off your mortgage now? If you're paying $1,000 a month for a mortgage but only have a $25,000 balance, it may make sense to take a portion of your investment savings and free up that monthly cash flow that you have on your mortgage. Next, we're going to build into the plan the retirement income, getting ways to have pay raises in the future. Things are going to get more expensive, and you want to have a built-in cost of living increase. The final part of the retirement income planning process is to look at how much income the surviving spouse is going to have in the event that there's a premature death or when the other spouse passes away, and start to kind of put pieces together to try to make sure that we're looking at all of those areas and really figuring it out, breaking those goals down into your essential income. This essential income should be covered with more reliable sources, things like Social Security, pensions, annuities to fill the gap. Looking at discretionary income, that is like your fun money where you
Sure.
can do and have some money for extra trips. And then your legacy planning. And so if you're looking to generate more income, if you're looking for, you know what, Nolan, I think it's worthwhile to get a second opinion of my income, whether it's looking at how much income is generated in your investment accounts or saying, is there some lazy assets that I could get up and go make work a little bit harder for me in retirement. If you don't want to get up and work in retirement time, I would encourage you to give us a call. We'd help you create a written retirement income plan.
There is a big difference, just for those people out there listening, there is a big difference in having an investment portfolio and having a written retirement income plan. Big difference.
It's basically the equivalent of, hopefully you've done a great job accumulating money, but the difference between that and actually having that retirement plan is like you may have apples and sugar and butter at your house. Doesn't mean you have an apple pie. You need to put it all together, see how it works for you. The team at America's Retirement Headquarters, they can help you do that. You need to take the first step. Give a call. Schedule a time to speak with them. 419-794-3030. Don't forget, if you're one of the first 5 callers, is a way of saying thank you guys for joining us this week. A complimentary independent portfolio analysis show you, where you stand right now and what it could look like down the line if things proceed the way they do and you're invested the way that you do. Complimentary to you again. One of the first 5 callers, 419-794-3030. You can always find them online, arhq.com.